Chapter 6. Ankle-Foot Orthosis, AFO, Actionable Steps and Specifics. At this point in the book, you understand the consequences of walking problems and falls. You have learned why walking angles can be helpful or hurtful, and so much more. Now it is time to talk about AFOs more specifically so you can understand them more. Remember, you want good walking angles during gait. These angles can make all of the difference. This walking aid can help provide that for you. Plus, you won't have to think about trying to mimic a 90-degree angle by yourself, especially since many people with foot drop cannot lift their foot to a 90-degree angle independently. Does that make sense so far? As mentioned earlier, it is less about the walking aid and what it looks like, in our opinion, more about what it does for you. This is true especially because an AFO can blend into your natural skin color, or it can be covered by clothing. Or some people we know even cover them up with a sock so absolutely nobody can see them. You see, this particular walking aid, a custom ankle-foot orthosis, or any of its close relatives, will in many ways look like you when it is on your lower leg, ankle, and foot. Actually, the AFO will be the exact shape of you at the time of the impression was made of your lower leg, ankle, and foot, if you go the custom route. A cast impression is kind of like a 3D picture of you at the moment in time that the cast was taken. An impression can also be made from a 3D scan of you as well. However, you want the walking aid in the end and not the scan. Sometimes people are so impressed by the 3D scan of themselves that it takes on a life of its own. It is the device itself that truly matters in the end, and more importantly, the solution that it can help provide for you. The scan doesn't correct your drop foot or incorrect walking angles. It is kind of like a carpenter, for example, who could get caught up in the features of a drill and how expensive it may or may not be, or perhaps how much it weighs, or what it looks like. But in the end, we want the hole that the drill can provide, not necessarily the machine itself. Does that sound logical to you? If you get a cast impression or a 3D scan, this means it can precisely fit the widths, lengths, and circumferences of your lower leg, foot, and ankle. In specific, this means that it can fit your calf size and shape exactly, your heel size and shape, and the height and width of your arch and the width of your forefoot, etc. We could keep naming aspects of your lower leg, ankle, and foot, but you get the point. If the impression of your lower limb is made by a licensed orthotist, it will basically be an exact replica of the shape of you with a few modifications for comfort. Like, for example, you want a little space at your ankle for comfort because your ankle area has bony prominences. Trust us on that one. Or you might want padding at some aspect of the walking aid because it will help soften up the bottom of your foot for shock absorption purposes, for example. Tip number 1, go to a licensed orthotist in your area. As mentioned in the last chapter, you can find an orthotist by going online and searching for prosthetics, orthotics, and your zip code. Something that looks like this: prosthetics, orthotics, 60451. They have the ability to fabricate a custom AFO right to your shape, or give you medical grade prefabricated options you might be interested in. An AFO usually has a thickness of 3/16 of an inch for most adults. That is about as thick as 2 3/4 stacked on top of each other. That is it. The thickness of a cane or walker dims in comparison. In other words, the thickness for one of these handheld walking aids is far greater in comparison. So if you can use a cane, then you can definitely get used to the appearance of an AFO because it won't be seen once it's on your leg, most likely. As stated before, many people have walked right near you your whole life, and you never knew that they had it on. On occasion, vanity can try to play a part when we consider a walking aid, and some individuals might ask themselves the question, what will people think? It might not be politically correct to say this, but please realize that almost everyone else you meet will primarily be focused on their own life challenges. That is what is most likely first and foremost for them. They are not judging us as one might assume. Moreover, the AFO is hidden. If someone were to think only of you, for example, they are not as likely to be staring down at your foot and ankle to see what your walking aid is, most likely. They will see you from the waist up, and this walking aid will not be a point of conversation. As mentioned earlier in our book, an AFO is not something you have to hold to use either. If anything, it holds on to you with two padded straps. Your hands stay completely free because you wear an AFO directly on your leg and foot, and it fits into your shoe. This brings us to our next actionable step, getting the proper shoes. Many people want to know what shoes to wear with an AFO, and that is a good question. Tip number 2, getting the proper shoes. It is up to you and your orthotist to discuss this topic. We say this because we do not know what kind of AFO you will be getting unless we treat you. There are many different styles within the custom or carbon fiber AFO genre, as you will soon see. Some are made for runners and hikers too that attach to the outside of people's shoes. In the end, the main takeaway from our point of view is that for most AFOs, the shoe has to allow for slightly more room than what is required for your foot. Tight sandals and dress shoes that are not made for your foot in the first place might become an issue. Or the shoe has to work well with the clips that are on the AFO that attach to a shoe as well. As stated, oftentimes dress shoes are not ideal because they do not afford much space other than what they allow for your foot. Some work, some do not. There is no telling until you try the AFO on with a shoe. Gym shoes or shoes with a little wiggle room work the best in our experience. But please do remember that many AFOs are made without tread, and as a result, they need to go inside of a shoe. You do not want to slip if you momentarily overlook this guideline. In fact, there are also shoes that have a zipper on the outside that open up extra wide for the allowance of AFOs. Your orthotist can help you find brand names to work with, but it is our experience that zippers are not a requirement, just a good option to consider. You can also search online for AFO shoes with zipper if you wish, or ask around in our free online Facebook group at AFOs, Foot Drop, and Fall Prevention, just like the name of this book. Below are some common tips we give our patients if their current shoes are tight, or if they are concerned about a shoe and an AFO. Again, clear all of this with your orthotist before incorporating these ideas we talk about. A. Removing the insole. Many health professionals and patients will remove the 1/8 inch insole that comes with shoes when using an AFO. This can make a big difference in how the AFO and shoe fit together. This is true because many AFOs are 3/16 of an inch thick, and by removing the 1/8 inch insole, which is equal to 2/16 of an inch, you will have more room in the shoe. What is left over is 1/16 of an inch, and although this does have thickness, the difference becomes much less significant. B. Stretching shoes. You can try this on your own after doing some research, or your orthotist can help you. Oftentimes, though, this means that the orthotist will need to borrow your shoe for a little while so the stretchers they have can do its job. This might be an hour, a day, or a few days depending on how much stretching you need done. C. Consider getting new shoes. Simply consider getting new shoes if that is possible. We realize that it is easy for us to tell you just to get out your wallet and go shopping. If it helps, many of the larger conglomerate stores have gym shoes that will work for $10 or less. Just a thought to consider. On occasion, some shoe stores have been known to sell people one shoe that is a half size bigger on one side if needed. This can sometimes help an AFO to fit well. Shoe stores do not all do this, but some will be more flexible in this regard. We have never done a study on this, but approximately 10% of the people that we have given an AFO to will do better with a new pair of shoes. But usually what happens is that people can use the shoes they have already with our walking aid solution. They may need to take the pre-existing insole out of the shoe, like we talked about before, or stretch the shoe in a spot potentially. But in the end, most of the time, people do not need to buy a new shoe in our experience. Another important point that can help you is that if you bring the AFO with you to the shoe store, the process of shopping for a new shoe will be more efficient. Why? That way, you're not guessing at what size you will need. You see, if you can figure the sizing out in real time, then you will immediately know what feels good for you. In this way, you can be more confident in the shoe purchase. What other people will notice about you with an AFO? People will predominantly notice how much better and more confident you are walking. Or if they just met you, they might not think anything at all about your foot drop issue in the first place. This is how good these walking aids can work. Now I'm sure that there is an outlier example that can be presented when an AFO was not enough support, but that is usually for people with absolutely no knee control or a hip issue that needs support in addition to foot drop. These individuals might do better with an AFO's relative, otherwise known as a KAFO. This is also known in the medical field as a knee, ankle, foot orthosis. KFOs are far less common, however, when compared to an AFO in our experience. You see, an orthotist will try to stay below the knee for a patient whenever possible. In our opinion, KFOs go above the knee center by about 10 to 12 inches or more. Coming up are some pictures of AFOs, shown from the side. You might be used to seeing the front of your leg and the top of your foot as you look down, but these are images from the side, as you will see. We put in some options that have some flair, but yours can be far more simple in color if you wish. You can visit our website and see a whole host of different colors that can be made available to you as well at mygateexpert.com. These colors are generally available to you whether you come to our facility or went elsewhere to one of our colleagues in the field. They can be decorated any way you want, really. Some online websites even make custom stickers for you. Obviously, this is a personal choice, but you can put these on your walking aid if you are so inclined. AFOs can be single-colored to help match your skin tone. Some have hinges, some do not, depending on the walking problem and your specific needs. Also, some people we know even put socks over the top of them to absolutely make sure they are concealed, as we discussed earlier. Remember, the images above are in a sense replicas of people's anatomy that we have treated. The point is to show you colors and some general designs that are common today. You will be able to rest assured that yours can look like your leg, and then it will be only the thickness of 2 to 3/4 as you look down from above. Next are some images of what a carbon graphite AFO can look like. These are often prefabricated walking aids in our experience. In our experience, the plastic AFOs mentioned earlier and the carbon graphite AFOs that we are about to mention are by far the most commonly used AFOs out there. Others do exist, for example, as you will soon see if you join online support groups. In these groups, they can share brand name information with you that we cannot. The upside of carbon AFOs is that they are typically lighter in weight. Plastic is not heavy, but carbon graphite is even lighter. It is almost unreal how light they can be. However, the downside is that they often cannot support someone from side to side. In other words, your balance, as well as a custom AFO does, in our estimation. As mentioned before, an AFO is ideally provided to you by a specialist with a license, if you want to do it right. A professional known as an orthotist. These individuals become certified, go through medical school programs, complete residency programs, pass state boards, earn and pay for licenses, and complete continuing education just to be able to serve you. There is something to be said for that. Moreover, if you go with a specialist and you have medical coverage, the AFO solution we are talking about can be free in many instances based on your deductible situation and your coverage criteria. It is a case-by-case scenario, however, to see if an AFO is covered, but oftentimes they are. Now that is a deal. The orthotics office can help you get to the bottom of your coverage and benefits information too. This service is performed for free. Take that help. They research insurance benefits all of the time. And if you have not done it before, trust us. You would rather have the orthotist office do it for you. You can be on hold sometimes with insurance for easily 45 minutes to get the answers you want. The hold times can kill the batteries in your phone. Moreover, when dealing with insurance companies and trying to find out your coverage, if you do not know, quote, the lingo, you might be at a disadvantage. Knowing the insurance lingo and process helps. If you do not have the experience, you may have to do more research and then call back and start over. All the more reason to let the orthotics practice help you. They can give you a quote of benefits, but they cannot guarantee the payment of the walking aid, as they are only telling you what the insurance company told them. One tip we do want to share with you, though, is that if you are proactive in the process and help the orthotics practice get the required notes you need for coverage purposes, things go much more smoothly. A new AFO that we have not spoken of yet. Coming up is a plastic and leather AFO with laces. It is fitting that we started with a testimonial about this very AFO, and now we're ending talking about it as well. This walking aid can help you with pain and help improve your balance. There are different versions of this walking aid available to people based on their needs. The laces are good for people who fluctuate in size due to edema, otherwise known as swelling. Laces are also good if you want to make it more snug based on your needs. The leather is used to help make the brace softer to wear. While most AFOs are for foot drop and indirect knee issues, this one can be used to help others deal with a foot that is struggling to maintain its structure or for balance issues as well. How great would it be if you had balance or pain issues and this support helped you with those problems? If you have not read it, there's a powerful testimonial of a woman in the beginning of the forward section that talks about this particular style of AFO. She is able to regain her lifestyle and even scale a large hill on a weekend adventure. You see, some individuals use an AFO primarily for pain reasons and balance problems instead of foot drop. You can use an AFO to help reduce arthritic pain that is inflamed by the movement in different parts of your feet. As a result, there can be value there for you. Decreased pain is good. Some of these walking aids are used for those who want to avoid an ankle fusion. Sometimes, instead of going in to get an ankle fusion, a patient will try to use an AFO of this kind to help reduce a range of motion that will cause pain. As you can see in the picture, there are different kinds of closure mechanisms. For example, you can see there are eyelets for laces. Other people like a combination of both eyelets and hockey-style closures. Conclusion. We would like to thank you for reading this book. We hope that you learned something along the way that empowers you. You see, that was one of our goals from the very beginning. We would like to think that we are hopefully leaving you in a better place after having read through this information. After you've had a chance to process this information in your own time, hopefully you will agree. We think this information is strong enough that it can have a very positive impact on the world's walking and falling problems. We can tell you that we have seen these walking aids give someone the achievement of walking confidence, but it is the transformation in someone's spirit that is priceless. I am not trying to imply that life is perfect after you get an AFO, but the positive results of these walking aids never cease to amaze me. You see, our walking aid solution does not only help people to effortlessly transform their gait, but it can be much more than that. We hope that in time you will look back and agree with us on this statement as well. Try an AFO for yourself. See if it helps to give you the favorable heel first, toe second gait pattern that we talked about earlier in this book. Just a quick side note. Please work with a specialist when you get one of these because some of the knockoff versions online might give you the wrong impression of this walking aid. You know how that can go with other things that you may have purchased online in the past. Sometimes you can get what you've paid for when you go the least costly route. I can even remember one gentleman I met bought one at a garage sale and then did not have an optimal experience thereafter. You get the point. Just remember, the simple concepts presented here can help you get some of your life back. A walking problem left untreated will gladly try to steal life's moments away from you. That is what we're trying to help you to avoid. The external support from one of these walking aids has the potential to change our world's walking and falling crisis, and we hope you let this information help you. We do realize that this is a big statement to make, so let's look at this another way. If all this walking aid did was help you walk around your home more safely, would reading this short book have been worth your time? If all this walking aid did was make it so you do not fear the next fall, would have reading this short book have been worth your time? If all this walking aid did was only do half of what we talked about in this book, would it be worth learning more about? If you said yes, then it is time to learn more. Or you can have a discussion with your doctor about using one, and they can write you a script to get the process started. We would love to see you and all of our future readers in our office, but due to distance, this might not be the best option for you. Do please remember, though, that some of the best AFOs are custom made and custom fit to people. Therefore, not all of the off-the-shelf versions of this walking aid will be the best for you, meaning it is best to get help in person with the medical experts we mentioned earlier in this book, known as an orthotist. They compete to get into medical school, pass credentialed residency programs, and fight to continually keep their license with continuing education requirements just to be able to serve you. By all means, go online and visit our support group and see what other people are saying about AFOs. Just as a quick reminder, our free Facebook support group name is AFOs, Foot Drop, and Fall Prevention. Remember, it is just like the name of the book that you are reading now. You can learn more from the other independent contributors in these groups. Moreover, there are other groups online that you can join as well if you want to participate in more than one forum. The choice is obviously yours to see which one you would like to participate in. Just to be transparent with you, we have not talked about every single type of AFO in this book. We wanted to, but due to the emotional ties that some manufacturers have about using brand name information, we opted not to do so currently. You will, however, be able to quickly find out about all AFO types if you join one or more of these support groups online and do a little bit of research. Perhaps, most importantly though, we have discussed many different types of AFOs with you thus far. We have shown you many different styles as well. Many key concepts about gait transformation and fall prevention have been presented here from our point of view. We realize this information presented in these pages might be a new concept for many of our readers. New can be good, however, especially right now. Things such as the 90-degree angle, a shifting weight line, and a weakened knee might all be new concepts for you, for example. If you feel a little overwhelmed by some of these topics, then we cannot blame you. You can, however, let this information sink in a little bit and perhaps later on reread the topics that need reinforcing. To put this all very simply, if you have a walking problem, please realize that a cane is a start, but it might not take you where you ultimately want to go. Meaning if canes were enough, then we would not have a massive falling problem in our society today. Wouldn't you agree? Having said that, please keep studying gait for your own good. A foot that drags, a sideways fall, or a knee that gives out from time to time can be all addressed with the mechanics of an AFO. Although this is a simplified presentation of the material, just know that if you take a 90-degree angle off of any piece of paper and incorporate that into your gait, then you can oftentimes walk better, especially if you have foot drop or a weakened knee. The side-to-side aspect of balance can be addressed very quickly as well in the impression-taking process of an AFO, and you can be the one that benefits from their use. This custom impression of you that the medical professional takes will help to hold your weight line between your base of support. In other words, keep the weight line between your feet. Obviously, please do not try fabricating something like this at your home. This is something that should be done for you by a licensed orthotist. The truth as we see it. Until now, chances are no one has ever come up to you and taken the time to explain these concepts. As the reader, we encourage you to become more educated and proactively bring this information up in your next doctor's visit. As you already know, many doctor visits are 30 minutes or less in length. At least that is the case in our experience. Obviously, some are longer. but many visits do not extend beyond the 30-minute mark. Having said that, it is hard for the doctor to give you the entire medical dictionary in that time frame. That is why specialties, such as ours and others, exist in the medical field, and for good reason. Please do remember, though, that this is not a new concept amongst medical professionals. The difference lies, in our opinion, in the lack of simplified information that has been presented to the public. No one has been trying to hide it from you, per se, but for better or worse, these concepts are not mainstream yet. Explaining this walking aid cannot be done with a few paragraphs, and that is why we chose to do this via stories and to incorporate this into a book's form. Once you take these ideas to your doctor or therapist, for example, one of two things will happen. First, you will find that this is not a new concept, as we have stated previously. This will help to reassure you that this is not an infomercial product that was born into existence yesterday. 2, the second thing that you will find, and we actually want to warn you about, is that many medical professionals know and appreciate the value of an AFO. However, it is our experience that a few medical folks like to put their medical specialty first over that of nearly all other medical forms of treatment. I'm not trying to sound negative here, but you can probably imagine the scenario. Watch out for this trap. Beware of the person who downplays everyone else and only wants to promote their line of medical thinking. It unfortunately does happen. Obviously, listen to what they have to say, and then you can compare it to what you have already heard. The support groups online that exist can be of great assistance in the fact that they are neutral. This way, you can come to your own conclusions after communicating with independent contributors on the topic. After having read this information or listened to this as an audiobook, you hopefully will walk away feeling good about the possibilities in front of you. However, when it comes to something new, there is an element of the unknown. This can become an impediment for people moving forward sometimes, and understandably so. If you want to learn more about gait transformation and fall prevention, we recommend you learn about our video course. To learn more, visit www.mygaitexpert.com. Many different medical professionals will come forward and give you their thoughts on walking transformation and the tools and strategies that work. You will see that we like the group approach. Ultimately, we want to see you succeed, whether it is from the material in this book or from a different angle. Taking your education to the next level is never a bad idea. We have never seen a course on walking transformation and fall prevention so well done, if we do say so ourselves, and we think it can help you as well. If you want to learn more, then you can visit the website listed above for more information. Please do not do what our character John did from the book. Some problems, especially those that have to do with walking, do not always go away on their own. We hope we can reach you before any future falls occur first. As you have already heard us say before, you deserve better than that. If you have any thoughts on possible ways to help improve this book for future readers, we are all ears. Please email us with questions, concerns, and suggestions at support@mygaitexpert.com. We would be happy to hear from you. Best of luck to you, Daniel Ranella.